still disabled.
I think when I set it up, it's, hold on. Oh, it's over here.
Try it again.
No, hold on.
Okay.
Okay, it'll work now.
All right. Yep. Okay.
So I just did a live Instagram post letting people know we're on Facebook Live.
Yay.
And I'm actually going to send another post just to make sure.
Okay. I'm not as
just
tech savvy as you are.
Hey, I'm learning. You know, when I logged on today to Facebook, it was letting me be a producer or something, and I was like, what is that? Producer
Really?
mode. I'm like, not right now. I'll do that next time.
I didn't even know there was such a thing.
Yeah, it's evolving. Okay, I'm going to start a watch party too, so let me just do that while we have a couple minutes.
Okay. Sip of my coffee.
Does need a face. Oops. Oh, we're not broadcasted yet to the people, so let me broadcast 1 second.
What is that for? Live chat?
I don't think the participants can join yet.
Okay. Of course, the gardeners are here. Okay. Hopefully you're not hearing them. Never fails.
All right. Your earpiece should block them out.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna broadcast.
Okay.
And you're live.
Hi, everyone.
So, I need to change. There we go. Okay, we're lined up now.
Okay.
It'll change the screencast shortly. I just see you on Facebook. Lucky you. Yeah. I feel.
Oh yeah, there we are.
Yay.
How come you're not showing up? Oh, there you are.
Oh, there. Yes, I changed the stream on my screen. Okay.
There we are.
So we're getting. Oh, let me start our. Make sure we're recording.
Can I record on mine? I'm asking because I don't know.
No.
Okay.
You can. Oh, it is recording. Okay, we're good. So many screens. Oh, how exciting. Okay. So let's see. We have some participants coming on, so they're probably trying to get in now. Welcome to our webinar. We'll get started in just a minute.
I can't believe we only have one left.
I know.
This will be fun. My favorite thing, wine drinking.
Yes. Shh.
Oh, it's a surprise. Sorry. You guys didn't hear that. I blew it.
It will be 11 a.m. But we probably could get more participants that way, right?
Yeah, we could. We could make it a wine and webinar. A wine webinar.
Oh, I like that. Webinars and wine and women.
There you go.
Okay, and men too.
Yeah. All sides represented.
That's right. We all matter, right?
We do. We definitely
Every single
do.
person matters.
Yes.
Gosh, our world has been so crazy this week. Oh, you know.
Just getting out of COVID and now this. It's crazy, but you know, it's like we had kind of overdue.
Yeah, we've had Kobe, and then we had COVID, and now we have all the protesting, and gosh, so keep the faith, everybody. Focus on, keep the faith. Don't live in fear, keep the faith, and just keep being a good citizen, a kind person, and just keep giving back as much as you can. I mean, it's so rewarding to give back. So just, anyway, that's what I'm focusing on. So here we are today. Let's get started. We are here today on our 5th week of Your Home Redesign with Monica Olson, interior designer of Casafina Interior Design. And I'm Jeanette Nelson with Keller Williams Realty, and I am your local real estate expert and very focused on community. So always looking on ways to give back. If you happen to know of a company that I could promote through a video and send it out to various portals to get them more business during this time, please send it my way. I'm focusing on not so much a large business, but some of those small businesses in your community that you think could use some help. Please send them my way. You can either send a message on here, or you can private message me, or you can email me at Jeanette@nelsongroup.re.com. or you can text me 714-366-8575. So I am here to help the community and help people that could use a little extra support, and I would love to promote it to everyone. So thank you for reaching out for that. So today we're going to be talking about the exciting topic of kitchens. Oh my gosh, there are so many cool things that I know Monica is going to share with us today about kitchens, and I can't wait to see them. I know I always feel like my kitchen needs a facelift, and I'm sure that if your kitchen is amazing, she probably could still add some insights around the kitchen and things you can do and things to consider, save you money on your budget. So Monica, take it away. Oh wait, housekeeping. Please make sure that if you have any questions, we would like this to be interactive. So go ahead and hit the chat room and ask questions there, or you can go to the question and answer section and ask questions there. We'll be answering them as we go. And if we don't get to them during the webinar, or some of them, we'll answer them at the end for sure. And then we're going to be sharing what next week's webinar is going to be on. And we should also announce our winner from last week.
Yeah.
You want to announce our winner? Actually, I haven't contacted the winner yet. Did you contact the winner?
I have not.
No.
I wasn't sure who we ended up with.
Okay. So what happened was we actually had a winner, but they refused. So not refused, but they weren't ready for it. So we thought we would offer it to somebody who may be more ready for it. So Sarah K, you are our winner from last week, and we'll go ahead and reach out to you and let you know. Okay. All right. So this week what?
You later.
Okay. Oh, good. Oh yeah, there you are, Sarah. You're here. So congratulations! Yay!
Yay, Sarah!
You get 1 3-hour consultation with Monica. So congratulations, and thanks for joining us on our webinars. Okay.
Yay.
So let's we'll have a winner this week as well, and one next week. So Monica, take it away.
All right. Let me share my screen. This is always a fun process for me. Hold on.
Monica is evolving.
I know. I still haven't quite figured this part out, why I can't get it to go right off the bat.
That's okay. You're doing great.
I'm getting there, slowly but surely. It's like the dinosaur.
Good job.
Thanks. No, I actually feel pretty good with what I've been able to do so far, because this is all so new to me.
Yeah.
So I'm glad everybody's been patient. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so this series we're going to talk about kitchen and design and remodeling. Some of the things we're going to discuss are the concept. When I work with clients, I typically start out with, just a question and answer period. I really want to know what you're looking to do and get a feel for you and your family. And from there, we get into the layout. We'll discuss budget, the different selections. So, obviously cabinetry, appliances, all the above. Storage and the style, and then a couple before and afters. So basically as I mentioned before, what I typically start out with is what are your goals for the kitchen? So I got to move this guy. And what I like to do when I first meet with clients is really just get a feel for them, get a feel for the space, discuss what it is you really want to accomplish in there. When it comes to a kitchen, basically, some of the questions I'll ask are how many are cooking in the kitchen? How often do you cook? What type of foods do you prepare? What are your weekly shopping habits, so we know how to store things? So we'll cover organization and storage. Appliances, are you purchasing new? Do you want to use existing? you know, my clients, it's all over the board. Some are totally gutting and redoing. Others want to use some of the appliances and may have purchased something within a couple of years. So it just really depends. Sinks and faucets, there's so much out there right now in terms of, you know, different offerings. Lighting needs, we've discussed it before, but there's 3 layers of lighting, so we'll get into that a little bit. Socialization, are we looking to incorporate an island with seating? Do you have a peninsula? So some of those are the things that I want to include in this session. And then entertainment, music. I've done before where a client wants to have a small TV or something in the kitchen, so we may say do something in the corner there. Let me get my little handy tool here.
Monica, I had a client in my neighborhood share with me in the lighting that you see over the breakfast bar there, they had speakers in them. You couldn't even see them. So you could hear music out of their speakers.
Oh, wow. I have not seen that. You gotta be honest. Nope, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I was like, they're like, watch, let's turn on the music. And then they're like, where's it coming from? I'm looking around like, it's coming somewhere on the ceiling right there, but they were in the lights. It was pretty neat. Yeah.
That's something new. And, you know, with this industry, it's ever evolving. There's so much to see and do. I've attended a lot of the, you know, kitchen and bath venues where we went to Vegas this year and saw you know, all the different vendors, what they were promoting new. And so there's a lot to know, and it's changing so rapidly, especially with technology. It's kind of hard to keep up, but we do the best we can. But that's cool. I'll have to find out. Thanks for that little input there.
Yeah, so I love if anyone wants to give me a tour of your home and show me any cool things you have, because I can share them with other homeowners.
Yeah. Yeah. Great idea.
Yeah.
And one of the things I do too is if a client wants to see, you know, prospective client wants to see a project, you know, I have a couple of clients that are happy to share. So it's always fun to get an idea, and then you can move forward from there. So initially, like I said, I really want to try to gauge what it is you want done. So we'll come up with a scope of work. I'll send out even it's a National Kitchen and Bath Association forum that really gets more detailed as to what elements go into it. So the more information I have as a designer, the more I can produce what you want. So the next step would be basically the layout. So here's an example of a kitchen that I did last year, finished beginning of the year, end of the previous year. And this was a big transformation. At the end, I'll have before and afters on it, but I just wanted to kind of go over the process. So typically we'll start with a layout of the room, and then we'll go from there. This one, there was a full wall here, and this area, there was a powder room, and it was just in the way. It really did not benefit them. And beyond here, there's into the hallway, there's another bathroom. So she elected just to remove it entirely. She could get more out of her kitchen, more functionality. So as you see, this originally was pretty much what they had, and you know, then it wrapped around here. She wanted to incorporate an island, and then this is your refrigerator and pantry, oven wall area. There was a separate pantry. So then from there, we developed the rendering or the elevations, so you really can see what's being done. The cabinets we have, as you can see here on this one, we have the basic cabinet, and then above, because we have tall ceilings, they did what we call clear story cabinetry above with some windows. We did a little bit of a ribbed effect to the glass, and just it really specifies with each cabinet what the purpose of that is, what's going to go in there. So these are some of the things we try to provide as we're, as a designer, you're trying to give the client as much information up front as we can, so they can see how that space functions. And then from there, we can input the materials that they are selecting, and then incorporate that so you get a better feel for the space. But in the layout, aside from the initial footprint, are we changing anything? Are we relocating appliances? which means you've got to relocate some electrical and plumbing. Are you opening up the space to create a great concept room, great room? In this case, this wall totally opened up so that there was more visibility between the two areas. This client really liked to entertain. So she wanted to make sure she was still a part of that when she was in the kitchen. And then there's a peninsula here also, which has seating. Are you relocating any doors or windows? We made this window a little bit larger. And then again, we're covering storage. So these are just some of the elements we're looking at. The lighting, do you want pendants here? She opted not to do that. So there's a lot that goes into it. It does take some time. And the more thorough we are, the better we have a handle on that budget. We know what we're doing, what we're spending. So at the end of the job, you're hopefully not totally surprised with something that you didn't incorporate in the beginning. There's always going to be an extra something that pops up during construction because it is unknown when you're opening up walls and moving things. But we try to eliminate that as much as we can while we're going through that design phase. So once we've established the layout, you could go, we can revise it a couple of times just based on, as you're going through it. Initially, it's just a concept, and then we get into more detail and define it better. So at the end, you hopefully have the layout that you want. And from there, we establish the budget. So for me, especially initially when I'm talking with clients, I really want to just give you a range because I have no idea what it's going to be until really we've determined the scope of work, we've selected the materials. And then you can back out things if it's going beyond the budget you really had in mind. So you really, as the client, you're driving that budget, because if you want something that's beyond that, initial budget range, it's up to you. And then we can make some cuts somewhere else, not trying to cut quality because that's hugely important. But you have to be realistic with what your budget is going to give you. So this, I included this last time in the bathroom session, but on the kitchens, they're typically saying, and I haven't really found this to be true. Most of my jobs are at least a minimum of 30,000, especially when you start adding in, cabinets are the large part of what that budget is going to include. But there's other elements, your appliances, the plumbing, especially if we're moving anything. So I typically give a range. It can be anywhere from 30 to 75 on up. It really just depends on what your needs and wants are and what your budget can take. So on this, the minor kitchen remodel, they're saying about 27,000. A major kitchen remodel is about 77, 78, just rounding it up. And again, that really just depends on what you're doing in the space, what materials you've selected, your appliances. Those can range, 20 grand for a high-end job. So just depends again what you're going to do with that space and the materials you select, the product. So we do discuss the materials. That all is incorporated, the cabinets, the counter, the backsplash. Are you going to use the same material as the counter? Flooring, your fixtures and your faucets, any accessories, and then, getting into lighting, plumbing, paint. So all these things factor into that budget. And we try, as I said earlier, to get all of that up front so that if we need to modify it anywhere, we can. We have a handle on what's being spent and where. So then the next thing I'll do, actually I'm taking this back, I'm just covering it after the budget, but appliances are a big part of the design process, what you want. Obviously there's, your cooking, so your range or a cooktop, your ovens, do you want a warming drawer? Do you want a beverage center or coffee center, dishwasher? There's so many different things that go into that. And within each segment, like on the range and cooktop, are you going gas, electric, induction? So this is an example of an induction cooktop. And basically that, I think everyone knows gas and electric. Some people aren't familiar with induction, but it's basically kind of resembles the electric cooktop, but there's a coil underneath the frying pan here in the example. and it needs a metal surface, not aluminum. It's too lightweight. It has to be, you know, like steel, stainless steel. And you can use, I think, cast iron. So the elements touch each other, and that's what produces the heat. So it's really actually safe. I've seen a lot of communities in like condos, townhomes, where, you know, it's multi-units that like electric or induction because of the fire hazard. And this, it's not really hot to the touch unless the pan's on it. So that's a good alternative. And I'm kind of covering things that you may not necessarily know about. So that was one thing I wanted to introduce. I actually had gone probably about 2-3 years ago now to Chicago. A couple of designers, we all went to the Monogram showroom at the their design house there in the what am I trying to say, the design, oh, sorry, I'm blanking out. Anyways, long story short, we were introduced to the induction oven cooktop, and it was really very cool. It heats up quick. You can change the temperature very quickly, so it's very adaptable. There's also, the next thing is ovens. Are you getting a range that has an oven in it already? Do you want a separate oven, a wall oven, a double oven, a micro convection oven? So there's a lot of different options when it comes to the appliances. I typically like to go to one of the stores. I frequent either Ferguson's or Renwest here in Orange County. There's quite a few, and they're the experts. So I kind of rely on them to give me the information that I need when I have a client that's looking for something specific. The cool thing lately is the steam oven. You know, all the manufacturers are starting to come out with their own version, so that's a cool oven to use too. It keeps things moist but crispy on the outside, and it excuse me. In this case, this is a Bosch. Both of these items are Bosch, and I'm putting the information here. If anyone's interested in looking into it, you're more than welcome to pull that up. The other thing,
that's helpful.
Yeah, I'm trying to give some info. The other thing that I'm a big fan of is the microwave drawer. I don't know how many people are familiar with that. I would say 90% of my jobs, we incorporate that. So basically it's a microwave, but the drawer pulls out. There's different models. You can have the controls on top or on the front panel. So this is this is Sharp microwave. They were the ones that initially, I'm pretty sure they were the ones initially that started the whole drawer trend. All of the manufacturers are coming out with their own now. So you can look at that one, Sharp, or any of the others, GE, Thermador, all of them, Bosch. So those are something you might want to look into.
Monica.
Yeah.
What is the cost difference of a drawer versus over the stove type microwave?
It's going to be a little more expensive than the combo, but I'm not a huge fan of the microwave above the cooktop. First of all, it's just, you're reaching up. It's harder to see what's in there and stir it, whereas this, you just pull out the drawer and you stir and you're done. But I realized, for space saving, for other issues, that's a viable, micro hood. So I would say these run about anywhere from 800 to maybe $2,000, depending on the model, the make, the manufacturer. They come in 24 or 30 inches. So they're fun. They're nice. I shouldn't say fun. They're good. It's a good product. The dishwasher I show here, this isn't done as much as it used to be, but you can get a kit to put the wood that matches your cabinetry, so it's more seamless looking and clean, or the stainless steel, which again, probably 90% of the jobs I do, they're just opting with the stainless because it matches the refrigerator and the ovens and all that. So the refrigerator drawers, I think, are great, especially when you have younger kids. It's easier for them to get in, if they want some water or like a Go-Gurt or anything like that. You can have sodas in there, fruits and vegetables. So if you have the space, that's in addition to your regular refrigerator, that's a nice feature to have. And then the wine bar, or sorry, the wine cooler. Um, this one is from Beano Temp, but you know, everybody again is manufacturing these. I like that it has different temperature zones. So if you have a red or a white, you can, you know, store it in there. And finally, I'm just introducing the coffee. It's a coffee maker built in by Bosch, but again, other manufacturers use it. I've done one. I really haven't done that many. It's more of a high-end feature, but it's cool. If you're really into coffee and you want to spend the extra money, it's a great idea. And then we're coming to materials. So there's so much out there. I mean, it's limitless at this point. What I'm seeing, I think I mentioned before, is the exotic woods. We're kind of coming back into the warmer tones, but also color. It's still very popular in white. So in this case, one of the cabinet manufacturers I like is Omega Cabinetry. They have such a wide range of cabinet doors and styles and colors. So they have this battleship gray, they've got a blue. This is kind of a green, it doesn't show up well here. And then obviously your white. You know, everybody likes that combination of maybe the island is a different color than the rest of the cabinets, or you can do a wall, say of tall cabinets in a color to accent it. So you can go as, you know, crazy as you want on this. It's just really personal preference. And then again, the quartz countertops. Literally, I've done one kitchen with granite in the last 5 years. So it's just because of the ceiling issue, and clients don't want to have to maintain it as much, especially marble, because it's a softer stone. The companies have done a great job recreating some marble effects and even granite. But marble seems to be the popular choice. As you can see here, this one's got some blue veining, so I was pairing it up with the Blue Lagoon. This one's black with white. This one here is also kind of just a very lightweight, light tone with some grays and browns. I use this a lot. It's from Pental. And what I like about it is it does have both the grays. It's got the warm and cool tones combined. So it really works well with a lot of different, you know, cabinet materials and backsplashes. And
Monica?
yeah.
On the reason why you guys are using quartz more often, is that because it's less expensive and it's easier to design because you can choose the exact color you're looking for versus in the natural stones?
Well, there's a few reasons. First of all, it's user-friendly, it's maintenance-free. You don't have to seal it. It's just more, it's a cleaner surface to work with. It doesn't absorb, you know, a lot of the things that the stones do. So that's one reason. Again, the other reason, like I said earlier, is people like that look of a marble, but they don't want to deal with the maintenance. So a lot of that was what started this whole trend. They were trying to use, originally, I take it back. Originally, it started more with a granite look in terms of the materials they were incorporating. And just as they were developing the technology, it's evolved to now what you're seeing here, where there's a lot of, you know, it's so popular right now, the white on white. And with granite, that's probably aside from granite, the actual quartz, which is quartzite, is very expensive. They have more colors in white, but it's still, you know, more cost prohibitive for a lot of budgets. So there were, you know, manufacturers trying to come up with something different to accommodate that lightness without the sealing, you know, having to seal the countertops, the marbles and the granites. I mean, there's granites that are darker, that are very dense, that you really didn't have to seal. But a lot of manufacturers were promoting that just because if there was an issue, it covered them. So that's one of the things. Cost-wise, it's very, I would say granite's less now because it's not in demand, but quartz, it varies by manufacturer. It's similarly priced to granite, but it's probably about 20% more now. And it depends on the manufacturer. Like, I'm really a huge fan of Cambria. It's made here in the USA. They really, to me, have the most beautiful designs than any of the others. But they also are one of the more expensive. Didn't start out that way, but you know, they've overtaken Caesar stone, Silestone. I know most designers are going with this brand, but again, there's so many out there now that you can use.
So I think I'm thinking of the Silestone. The Silestone is what people have been using to match better because they are consistent with, you know, the color is the color because it's man-made.
Right.
Right.
And Silestone is just the manufacturer. Again, there's Caesar stone, there's Pental, there's A&M. There's so many different ones out there. You know, you go to Home Depot and you see a different line. So it just, there's some quality issues between them, but it's kind of hard to go wrong with a quartz. So like I said, I would say 95% of what we're doing now is just geared to quartz. And that's what most of my clients are asking for. I really haven't had too many asking for a granite or a marble.
Great, so, good to know.
Yeah, hopefully that was not too long-winded. So then we have tile, and there's so much out there. There's, you know, everyone's doing the subway, but that's kind of, that's trending out as much as it's still popular, but we're trying to come up with new, more fun and, you know, exciting different patterns and textures. So in this case, this is a, you know, a textured tile that has some, you know, different planes to it. So it really makes it more interesting. The glass tiles, I think these are both, I'm trying to remember. Different patterns. There's, and I'm really just right now speaking for backsplashes, because it's not a ton of area that you're covering unless you have a full wall without wall cabinets. But I like to also kind of highlight behind a, you know, the cooktop and the hood or the range in the hood. You could go, like in this case, if you wanted to do something fun, you could change out this pattern to something that complements the you know, the splash and then the cabinet. I'm sorry, the countertop. So these are just some examples of tile, but literally there's so much out there. It's hard to really cover everything. And then flooring, you know, in a kitchen, you want it to be as waterproof as you can get. I still have some clients that want hardwood, but that's really very minimal now, maybe 20%. And tiles tiles probably second. But what we're seeing a lot of is the luxury vinyl tile, so LVT for short. So the two end examples are what we are looking at in the way of a luxury vinyl tile example. And they're waterproof, they're softer cushioned. They have a lot of them have the pad just built into the underside, so it's easier to install. Expense-wise, it really varies. It's a little bit less than wood, but more than tile. And again, depends on the manufacturer or which one you're going with. It could be as expensive as tile, if not more. So that's something that we, as we're going through that design phase and selecting materials, we base that, you know, what our final selection is on the client. I've had the last 3 kitchens were doing the luxury vinyl tile. One was because she had a couple of dogs. Another is with young kids, and it's pretty indestructible. So it's really become very popular. And the tones are so much more realistic than they have been. And, you know, as time goes on, they're perfecting the process more and more. So it's going to be even better until the next thing comes out, which would be interesting to see what that is. And then you have lighting. So, you know, if it's over an island or a peninsula, you can do some pendants. There's so much, depending on the size of the peninsula or the island. You know, do you want to do some singles? Do you want to do something that's more linear? One thing we discovered with one of my jobs was she had a cooktop on the island just because that was the only place we could really get it, and that was where it was before. And she wanted a some pendants. So we put them up, some glass pendants, and but the problem was with spattering, it kind of made them, there was one particular one that was getting dirty. So it's just like, note to self, if you're going to do pendants, you need to put them further back. We didn't have a lot of room, so unfortunately it just was where it was, and she was aware of that. But I don't think she realized how much until actually it was done. So, there's issues with the lighting and electrical. By code, you have to have outlets GFI or GFCI, so the ground fault circuit interrupter. You have to have that every so often along a run on either side of a sink. I think it's 2 feet from each end of the sink, the opening here. And then I want to say it's like 4. But by code, they have to be independently switched. So sometimes you need a new circuit. With the lighting, you have to have energy efficient lighting. So the cans really need to be LED. And the pendants on dimmer, I suggest dimmer on everything if you can, because with layered lighting, it really creates an effect. And so I suggest with the cans and the, any accent lighting, so the pendants, if it's under cabinet, you want to try to keep that energy efficient or on dimmers. And the bulbs, they're changing up. We're finding more that are offering LED. Some are actually built into the actual light, so you can't even change that out. And that may be the way we're going, just for energy efficiency. So one of the other things I want to bring up is when you are remodeling a kitchen or a bathroom, by code, you're typically supposed to get permits anytime you touch plumbing or electrical. Seems silly if it's going in the same place, but that's the code. Realistically, you want to do that mainly when you're, moving something, if you're touching a panel, if you're adding windows or doors, you're opening up walls. There's a lot to consider when it comes to that. So I'm just throwing that in this section here, but that's something you want to keep, be aware of. It adds to the cost, unfortunately. Appliances have to be on their own circuit. So that's another thing. Hopefully your panel has enough, open fuse areas that you can add some circuits if you need to. So that's, electrical and lighting, your sinks and faucets. There's so much out there to select. Let me go to the next one. I think I'm covering that on the next one. Yeah. So, sorry, I jumped. I shouldn't have gone there yet. But really quickly, just paint. Are you going to put any wallpaper? And if so, in a kitchen that gets some use, you want to consider what you're using. Do you want to cover windows? If there's a lot of sun in the afternoons, it gets hot. How are you going to handle that? Furniture, if you have an island, you want some seating around there, so your bar stools. And then do you want to accessorize just to make it more personal to you? To covering the fixtures and faucets. Sorry, I'm just going on. Does anyone have any questions? Or I cover this, I'm like, yeah.
You're on a roll. We don't have any questions, but
okay.
That's such great insight. There's so many details to interior design. I would not have any clue as to all these things all the value that you add when someone has you come to their home. I mean, like, you start on the surface really and get an idea, and then you really got to dig deep into a lot of details. So
right.
I love your budget sheet. That's really helpful to see.
Yeah.
And very organized. And then just all these details are so helpful.
Right. And with that budget sheet, I want to emphasize, you watch those shows on HGTV or any of those channels, and it's so, it's really doing a disservice when it comes to what the budget is, because it really varies by state, by city, by, here in Orange County, we're at a premium. So you're going to pay more. So you have to be realistic with that. And that's why I like that, that budget that's provided, because it is for LA, which incorporates Orange County. They have a separate one for San Diego and up north. But San Diego and LA is pretty similarly priced. So it's kind of just running from LA down south. So it's a good handle on what you really ultimately will spend. I know I've run into jobs where I've met with clients after they hired a contractor and the contractor came in saying, oh, you can get it for this amount. Well, you know, they're just doing bare bones. They're not really, contractors don't want to make selections for you. And I don't blame them. It's a lot of work. So it's best if you can work with a designer or, you know, somewhere if you go to Lowe's and you're, you know, buying your cabinetry there, they have that service too. So I'm not discounting them. It's probably not as in-depth, but, you know, for what your needs are, if that's your budget, I say go for it. And again, designers, you know, it's not the least expensive thing, but at the end of the day, there's value to it because we know me personally, I've done this I want to say 25 years now. So there's a wealth of experience and we have all the resources. We work in conjunction with contractors. So if we have this great idea and they're looking at us like we're nuts, you know, we figure out, is it doable? And you know, what that's going to cost. So do you want to spend that extra money? So sorry, getting back to fixtures and faucets. What's popular right now still is kind of that farmhouse or industrial look. I always recommend under counter, but there's still drop-ins, which I haven't done one. I can't even tell you when. The tile-in, that's really not done anymore because most people are not using tile for countertop material. The only few times I've done that recently are if it's like a Spanish style and they're trying to be true to that, you know, that design aesthetic. Silk granite, there's a composite material. This is an example. This is from Blanco. It's called a silk granite sink, and it's made out of granite particles that are ground from the actual granite. You know, they grind it down, they form almost like a powder, and then they add material. They add other material to it, and they create a sink that's really indestructible. It's not bright and shiny. It's usually a matte finish, so it just depends on what your design aesthetic is, what your design scheme is. But I've done this. Maybe half of the jobs I've done in kitchens, we've used this product. And again, other manufacturers make it, just different name. But I like their product. It comes in different colors. If you want it like a black or a brown or a beige, they're always coming up with different, you know, tones to reflect what the current trends are. Personally, not a huge fan of a black sink because still you're going to get the water deposits over time. As you can see here, you have your black faucet, and this is either a soap dispenser or a lotion dispenser. It's really popular right now, mixed metals, where they're mixing the kind of the brass look. You have a pot filler in terms of faucets. I'm kind of 50-50 on pot fillers because my rationale is, well, you still have to dump the water, so what's the point? But it saves you one step from filling it up and moving it. So it's kind of a cool thing. Definitely most jobs that I've done it's a little bit higher end project. If you have a second sink, like a bar sink or, you know, a vegetable sink in an island, you know, you need some faucetry there so you can mimic what you're doing with the other one. The articulating, this is called an articulating faucet. And sorry, I'm jumping around. But there's just different examples. Stainless steel is not as popular right now because we're seeing more of the white farmhouse just because that's the look. So, I mean, it's a perfect example. It's a farmhouse, but it's more of an updated, you know, kind of beachy feel. So really your design aesthetic is going to determine what materials we're using in there. Here's another example. This is also an articulating faucet. This is very cool. When I went to the kitchen and bath show this year in January, a lot of designers would go and builders. They have the builders show also at the same time. There's so much out there. It's just overload. And one of the cool things that they had were these rubber mats that fit over the sink. They're heat resistant, so you know, you can wash your fruit and vegetables on there and let it dry, or it's just, there's a multitude of uses. So I just thought that was kind of a cool thing to throw in there.
Wow, that is really cool.
Yeah, I think they're fun. I keep thinking I'm going to get one for mine, and I've yet to do it, but eventually I will. And they come in a lot of different colors, not just black or white. There's so many colors, red, they had some green, they had orange. It's really fun if you're into that kind of a thing. I mean, the bright colors, kitchens are starting to come out with more, the appliances and the faucets and fixtures are coming out with more color. Personally, haven't really done too many because that's just going a little too extreme for most of my clients, but it's a fun option. And then, whatever other accessories you want to incorporate in there. Here they have the lighting, the wall sconces, which is kind of a fun idea. I don't see that too often. But just there's so much to choose from. So when you're working with your designer, that's a time you really say, these are all my wants. This is what I want. And then we get to the reality of, okay, based on all these wants, what's priority? Because to fit it in your budget, that's what we need to do.
Can I ask you a question from
Sure.
our participants?
Yeah, sure.
What is under counter sink versus drop-in sink?
Basically, under counter is what you see here. So the countertop is over the, the sink. Drop-in has a flange that sits over the counter. So those were done, up till maybe 2000. We don't see that as much anymore because the technology has changed so much. You don't really need that drop-in. Like I said, I don't think I've even done one, but it's when you have, like this is still an under counter, but if you imagine this being a little thicker and then it sits on top of the countertop, that's a drop-in.
That stainless steel kind of resembles a drop-in.
And that it's not, but it could also be one. When they install, they need, support. It sits under the countertop. There's, a rough top. So it's made out of wood. So that these flange will sit on there and then the countertop sits on top of that. And usually you have, a little bit of an overhang on the countertop.
And the purpose of having the drop-in, not the drop-in, the under counter versus drop-in,
mm-hmm.
there's a benefit to it being under counter.
Yeah,
right?
Because you basically could just wipe things off the counter into the sink without that lip and things getting caught in the lip of the drop-in.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and you don't have to have that caulk around the edge
right.
and such. Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason why
you have caulk underneath, but you just
mm-hmm.
it's not like you would in the Thailand or the drop-in. And a lot of times people like it. The reason some people would like it is because if there's an issue, they want to replace the sink, it's not a big deal. Whereas when it's under counter, you could break the countertop. So that's something you have to keep in mind.
Yeah, if you don't want to change your countertops and you need to change your sink, then you most likely have to do a drop-in.
You may.
Right.
Just depends on, you may have to. Depends on if they can remove that easily enough without breaking, the countertop. You have a better chance, most likely with quartz because it's more dense than you will with a natural stone. The stone, it's porous. It can crumble. And it's, they're on there it's pretty heavy duty. The way it's adhered. So it could break, it could chip, and then you're stuck. Either you get the over if there's enough to cover whatever chipped off or cracked, or you have to get a new countertop.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So next we'll cover storage. And on storage, there's so much out there. This is what really is fun when we're designing a kitchen because everybody uses theirs a little bit differently. But you still have some of the same things like the spice drawer. You want that on either side of the range or cooktop. Pull-outs. This is a great solution for storage on your pots and pans or even drawers for, like dishware if you don't want a lot of upper cabinets or you don't have the space. In this application, it's behind a cabinet door. So for me, if you're going to do that, I'd rather just use drawers because it's saving you steps. But if you're, say, retrofitting something and it's a cabinet, then that's a good solution. Your waste, basket or your recycling center. I do, every kitchen I do now, everybody's asking for that. It's just more efficient and organized. I also try to put in like a tray rack, whether it's above. Usually, I'll try to put the organization where you're actually cooking or wherever it is you're functioning. So if there's say a wall oven, I usually put it above the oven because you can still reach up there as long as it's not a real tall stacked oven, or a low cabinet on the side. These are lifesavers, these wine corner units. So in this application, this section here slides back towards that back end of the cabinet. It's hard to reach. And then this goes forward. So these are great solutions when you can't do a corner lazy Susan. Some people don't like those. So this is another option. So that's why I wanted to show that. I would say I do at least one in every maybe 2 remodels that we do.
That is so cool. That is so needed, especially in like a small kitchen when you have a corner that's kind of just stuck being a corner. Exactly. And you can't really put like a corner piece in. That would be so helpful, especially in condo communities. I find there's a lot of those corner spots. Yeah,
they're just wasted space because if you even have the access to that end of the cabinet run, you can modify it as long as you're removing the countertop. It's hard to do some of these when you're when you are keeping the countertop and it's an existing, but some of them you can. And then your drawer organizers. This is just an example of one with a wide drawer. I like to make the drawers as wide as possible because I think there's more functionality, but that's also kind of a personal preference for clients. This is a cool feature. It's a mixer stand. So you can keep the mixer on there. Typically, I always would recommend putting it on the counter. This is more just to lift it up so you're not bending and lifting it from this point. It's from here and then on the counter. And then you set it back on, you store it, and it's a done deal. So those are just some of the things that you can get. This one, could be a spice rack. Also, you have utensil holders. So it's just another way to get things off the counter. So I think we covered most of this. A dish organizer, like I said, that could also be a dish organizer with different types of pegs. The roll-out shelves. Again, I'm more a fan of, putting in more drawers than the rollouts. But if you're working with an existing footprint and you're just, say you're repainting or you're refacing, then that's a good solution. The tray divider, the mixer, and then the pantries, whether you're doing a walk-in pantry, if you have the space, which is awesome. But if you don't, there's so many things you can use now. This is a pull-out with 2 separate zones. So this is the lower, and then above, it's not showing, but there's an upper. They have some that are full height. And typically, I think they go to about 24 because anything beyond that, and then you want you have 2 doors with rollouts at the bottom and then adjustable shelving above. So you can really get more organized that way. And then a lot of what we see now, it's kind of starting to see not as popular anymore. And it's the, floating shelves, just because people don't want to see all their junk up there. I usually will do it if it's, a funky corner that just doesn't suit having a cabinet. And then you could do some more decorative items, some, dishware that you want to showcase. So there's a lot of different ways to store things and make that organized so it works for you. And Rev a Shelf, there's a lot, the link here. So it's just Rev a Shelf. If you go online, you can look it up. They have a ton of different storage solutions for kitchens, bathrooms, closets, whatever it is, you can find it there. That's just one. There's quite a few others, but that's kind of the go-to for a lot of people, and they're more reasonably priced than some of the others. So that covers our storage. Does
Thank you for those links.
Questions? Yeah,
We
no
don't have
problem.
any new questions right now. Anybody
Okay.
have any questions? I just want a long list of all the opportunities that we could put in a kitchen. You know,
Oh,
like that
there's
rack on the sink. I mean, I would just love to see like all the possibilities, because I could just imagine how many
that
great
would be a
things there are.
book. That would be a book.
Right.
But actually, with, like I said, if you go to Revishelf, it's, they give you different options, the sizes, some inspirational ideas. You could even go to, what is that store at South Coast?
Oh yeah, Container Store.
Container Store. You can go there and get ideas.
I'm
There's a
afraid to
lot.
go in there.
I know.
I think I might spend way too much money. I love being
Yeah.
organized.
I know, I do too. That's one of my pet peeves is when I'm unorganized. My desk, I try to keep it organized, but it's just never enough for me.
Let me offer you a question.
Sure.
I have a question regarding what magazines do you recommend when looking for inspiration? Better Homes or other magazines?
If you're really serious about it, there are a couple of magazines that are more expensive, but they really delve into quite a bit more than just, like Home Garden. There's, I'm trying to recall the name. I know
There's interior design magazines too, right?
Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
It really depends on your budget range if you really want to look at some of those, because some of them are geared towards higher end. So, you can do the Better Homes and Gardens. There's one, I'm sorry, I'm totally drawing a blank on the name. There's specifically one for bathrooms. There's specifically one for kitchens. And I want to say they're like $12, $14 each. But they're really great magazines. And those you could find, at one of the, whatever bookstores left or online. I've also seen them, I want to say, either at Home, was it Lowe's? I want to say I saw it at Lowe's. So sorry,
So
I'm not offering as much information as you probably want.
That's okay.
I can email some. I mean, I can email them to you, or whoever's asking, just send me your email and I can look them up, because right now I'm drawing a blank, but there are quite a few.
I'll go ahead and send an email out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And also, you know what, it would make a nice, like a staging piece on your coffee table or something also. So if you're going to invest in this $12 magazine, it's nice to leave laying around. You'll want to pick it up to inspire you and maybe some others. And it's just kind of a nice piece to lay around as well.
Yeah, no,
it looks amazing.
There's great information and they're nicely done. I'm assuming they're still available. I really haven't looked at it in a while, but when I saw it originally, I thought, oh, this is a great magazine. There's so many out there now. So anyways, then covering styles, obviously we've covered this a few times for those of you that are faithful followers. Thank you. But I always say the space isn't about me, it's about you. So I will direct you in where I think you need to be based on what you're telling me you like. So if you have a preference, if you're traditional, if you're contemporary, or in between, which is transitional, if you're more eclectic, so it's, you want a fun, bright kitchen. The farmhouse style again, or industrial, I didn't even include that. Not as popular as it was, but it's you find a few requests for that. And then something where there's more of a zen feel. Typically that's kind of more of a bathroom oasis, but there's some kitchens that can provide that. And then the beachy feel. So this is a job that I'm waiting to get professional shots. We're finishing up in there. But she really wanted to mix up the countertops. And again, she loves the quartz or the marble look. So this is a quartz. And then this is more of it's kind of a gray, I call it a grayish, but it's going more dark gray than brown. So a little bit of brown undertone. And it's just really a nice complement to the tile on the backsplash. This is just marble, but very fine, thin layers on sheets. So you can mix things up. Like I said, you could run the countertop up if you wanted. You could change this up. But she really liked the main, the real clean, streamlined look. So that's what we did. The under cabinet lighting. I'm kind of torn between, this is something I know some people bring up as a designer, some are a guest if you do this. But the appliance, your outlets, Like I said, they have to be certain feet apart from each other on a run, separate circuits. If you can also have a run underneath, there are some manufacturers that provide not only under cabinet lighting, but a strip with outlets. So you could do that. The only reason I'm not crazy about it is because when it's plugged in, then you're seeing the, the cord. So for me, it kind of defeats the purpose. But then again, if you're not using that, you can unplug it. So it's really more personal preference for clients. Something to keep in mind when we didn't have lights on, but when you have, a glass front, you definitely want some lighting. You could have the puck above with glass shelving, or a lot of what we're doing are LED strip or tape lighting on each side here that, highlights the whole inside of that cabinet. So that's something that, you can add. And again, the under cabinet lighting, we're layered here with some LED cans. Those come in all different sizes and shapes. You can get square, you can get 4-inch. There's just so much out there now to choose from. So it depends on the function and the aesthetic of what you're looking for. Here she has some pendants above the island. And this is, I think we've got 3 seats in there. I think she purchased 3 stools, if I recall. So that's just one example of the style that you can select.
Monica, in one of my last listings, the person that was remodeling the home had put in those LED strip tape. So they're pretty amazing. It's literally like this really
tiny,
skinny little strip, and it gives so much lighting. So there was under cabinet lighting, actually underneath near the ground, under the drawer lighting, as well as under the cabinet lighting in the bathroom. I mean, it was behind the mirror in the bathroom. It was pretty amazing. And I think it really helped to sell the home. It adds some really great ambiance.
It adds that. Plus, at night, it can be a night light, especially in a kitchen or a bathroom. If the last one we did, we had I showed a job that we've just ordered cabinets. We're in the works for starting in a couple of months because she can't start right away in next month. And there's floating cabinetry, so we're putting lighting underneath, so that can act as night lighting, and it just highlights that space. So it's a great look. And we're seeing more of it, but again, at the end of the day, it's not really expensive. It's just one more thing. So depending on your budget, where are you going to cut back? So those are just things you need to bear in mind. So this is such a transition. This was a home that was purchased. You saw this on, I think, the first one, part of the home office space, but there was a wall here, and we opened it up. So this was actually that space. So if you see this doorway here, that is this door right here going into the laundry room. So as you can see, it was really, really hideous. And tenants lived there. They just really did nothing to the house. So basically the whole house was gutted and we started from scratch. And it's, a small little Long Beach home, 3-bedroom, 1.5 baths. And so we added all new cabinets, the refrigerator, there's a pantry on the other side. And then you have the peninsula here with some seating, the sink. So, you have access between the rooms. So if she's, in there cooking or cleaning, you can watch TV, you can see what kids are doing. These windows were closed because, as you can see, we really wanted that all for storage. And it's just opening that wall provided so much extra light because there's a sliding glass door here that you don't even remember they were there initially. And like I had mentioned before, the plumbing, everything was relocated. But the nice thing was there was a crawl space underneath, so it wasn't so bad. Although if I recall, they just pulled everything up and did it from, from above versus crawling underneath, because nobody really likes to do that. They don't have to. But all new lighting, all new everything. Everything was done in this house. And then the next picture is just, this is what I was talking about. I showed that last time with the, this was actually a workspace for her. So you have a monitor in here, shelving. This was kind of just like her little workspace for the kitchen and for paying bills type of thing. And then more storage. So whatever she couldn't fit in here, because it's not a huge kitchen, she could get in these drawers. And opposite that was a pantry with rollouts. And then that goes into the dining area. So we, again, opened it up, created this niche for the little workstation there. So you can get as creative as you want.
It's amazing how much light in the picture before, how much light is in that kitchen now.
Yeah.
I mean, look how dark it was. And look, I mean, if you take a window out, I was like, what? You took a window out? But oh my gosh, that is so bright and light. What an amazing
It's very impressive, the difference of before and after on this one.
Yeah, I love it.
Because again, the dark cabinets, the dark floor, the wall here just cut off any light, because this is, I want to say this is either north or east facing. I'm trying to remember which way this street goes. But yeah, it really just opened up that space and gave so much more light, bright and airy. So
wow.
Yeah, makes a big difference. And then here's another one, same concept. We basically opened up this whole space. So this is looking into the family room, which is here. And I'm going to go real quick to the next picture and then I'll come back. So you can see there was a bump out here for a powder room, which was really, I showed you that initially. They had these beams, which really were nothing. We were debating whether we kept them, spaced them out, got rid of a few, because it really just did nothing. And the owners eventually decided they just wanted to do away with it for a clean look between rooms. But we got rid of this whole space, that bathroom. There was a hallway here to the bedrooms, and there was a bathroom there. So they felt like we don't really need another bathroom. And I know that devalues a little bit. It was just a half bath though. And they had enough bathrooms in the house. There were 3 others, so they didn't really need it. But look at the difference between here and here with the darker countertops. Again, you had that micro combo, which I'm not a fan of, but actually in that job previous, we did that just because of spatial restrictions. We did the, light white cabinets. This is actually a Cambria countertop. I think it was Berwyn. So it gave some depth. There was a little bit more tonal quality to it than just the white with the, veining. She wanted to have a separate island. So this is small. I typically wouldn't go this small, but for her, it worked, and they really wanted that separate space there. And there is a peninsula here, so there's a ton of storage.
Are those skylights, Monica? Those square lights up there? Okay, nice.
Up here, there's skylights, yeah. So again, a lot of natural light, but it just, opening this up made a huge difference. Nothing was really changed in this room except for the fireplace, which I wish I would have shown that. It was really cool to see the before and after. But yeah, so we moved the, double oven. She did a micro oven combo on this one with a warming drawer down here. So there's the regular convection, and this is a micro. So we had this tall with trays up here. She's tea and coffee drinker, so she wanted her own little center there for that. So there was storage here for, coffee, tea, sugar, or whatever you want. And then some more, a drawer and more cabinet space here, the refrigerator. These are the transom, I should say. I think I said clear story. They're transom windows above. So they're separate pieces. You can store, in this case, she stored some things that, she really doesn't use, and others that she wanted to highlight. But with this glass, it was meant more to obscure than to really highlight. The cooktop is here. There's a spice pull-out. Typically, I'd want that a little bit wider, but with spatial restrictions, that's as much as we could get, because she wanted a wider drawer bank here. And again, as I said, I'm more of a proponent of drawers. So we have a bunch here, we have here on the other side, back here, we have a bunch of drawers too. This is that blind corner I showed you previously. What else do I want to highlight? This actually is the drawer into the dining room, so that's here. And then this is a walk-in pantry with a
cute
barn-style door. And this was a nice big pantry. She has a lot of, a couple of grandkids that she likes to have. They play in there too. They have a little seating area, so I didn't really show it. But yeah, it has a lot of natural light. There's another skylight here, so just really opens up the space.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a
Good
fun
job.
job. I really enjoyed working with her. And this is actually LVT. Yeah, I think this was a luxury vinyl tile. Trying to recall. Yeah, it was LVT, luxury vinyl tile. So there's different things that you can use. Like I said, what I like about that is it's softer on your feet versus tile, but tiles come a long way. They make it look like, wood too, wood planks, which is still really popular. You're seeing some concrete looks on the floor, but typically what people are asking for is that wood. So, and then let's see what else. Is there anything else I want to cover here?
The before and afters are great visuals. It is 12:07, Monica.
Oh, okay. Then I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. That's
okay.
That's
are
it, guys.
You
I'm done.
Are you done impressing us with all those really cool insights about interior design?
I hope I impressed you, but yes, I'm done. So I just want to thank everyone for joining us, and just let you know next week is our final episode of this session. We'll be doing a couple more, just not weekly. Jeanette can fill you in at some point on that. But
can you unshare your screen first?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
That's okay.
I will unshare.
Good to see that information too.
Yeah. So next week we'll I have a little flippy do there, driving me nuts. We are going to be covering like wine cellars, wine storage, wine captains, so that you can create your own little, bar area type of thing. So stay tuned for that. That'll be fun.
Yes, next Friday at 11 a.m. we will be hosting another episode of Your Home Redesigned with Monica Olson at Casafina Interior Designs, and she's going to be covering the topic of wine cellars, wine for all the wine enthusiasts. So what would you call it? Wine, not cellars, wine
room, wine nook. I don't know. It just, there's so many different variations of it that I can't think of a general term for it. We're just talking.
We'll come up with that just shortly, because we need
area.
Beverage area. Oh, good.
We'll think of
It's not only wine, right? Only wine.
No, it's not only wine.
Great.
Yeah.
So we thank you for joining us today, and
Thanks,
will see you next Friday for our final episode, and we'll keep you informed on what's coming next. So I hope this has been helpful and insightful for everyone, and we really appreciate you joining us. If you have any questions for Monica, please feel free to reach out to Monica Olson at Casafina Interior Designs. And you can reach out to me, Jeanette Nelson, at Keller Williams Realty, and we're both here on our Facebook page. So go ahead and join us, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks. Bye.